Welcome back to the Win with Dice podcast, a podcast featuring members of the Win with Dice team. I'm Calvin, and I'm joined here by Ramon.
What's up, guys? It's your boys.
That was a that was a new intro. Are you trying something different here?
Yeah.
Oh, I like it.
Brings a lot of energy.
Yeah, man. I'm very energetic right now. I was just doing some air guitar to a pretty rockin' guitar solo, so
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. We bought a hot pot. Slash.
Oh, finally.
I guess. Yeah. So we actually just busted it out. It was kind of cool because we had it on the weekend, and then now because we just own it, we could just be like, oh yeah, we could just do it whenever. So then we just did it again. And,
So how is it?
man.
Like, is it the same as when you like go out to a place to get it?
Yeah. I mean, you just put the soup base in, add some broth, and then
Should
we
we
have
explain
like
what a hot pot is, actually?
Oh,
I don't know if everyone knows because
it's
I just learned about it this year.
Oh yeah, so it's like I don't know if all like Asian Oriental cultures do that. I think but this one's specifically Chinese hot pot. At least that's the soup base that we use, and yeah, it's basically just like a pot with some broth in it, and you just kind of put it's thinly sliced meat and like vegetables, and you cook it in there, and it soaks with the flavor of the broth, and it's just really good, especially since it's kind of crappy weather outside. It's like a nice warm bowl of soup. Except you could also drink the soup, but it's just kind of cool like that.
Yeah.
But ours has a grill, so you could also do barbecue on it.
Oh, like the Korean barbecue, or
yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, it's also really funny because I wasn't actually partaking that much into like the pot, but because like the grill was there, I was like, yeah, I'll just throw something on there. Just walk by and just like put something and
it's
grilled
separate,
up some
okay.
meat. Yeah. So it's kind of cool. We actually joked that maybe we should just we'll have a hot pot, but it's like instead of it, just bring your own food. Just but yeah, no, I was eating because they're using the spicy broth, and I'm not too much into spicy broths.
Yeah.
And so I just made myself like a one of those tenkatsu ramen bowls of like instant noodles, and then just like came over with my own meats and just grilled and put it and ate my own thing with them. But it was kind of cool that we could have different meals but still kind of hang out together, I guess. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that sounds awesome, actually.
Yeah, it's pretty dope. So the only problem is cleaning it. It's kind of like this big thing. Yeah. But
Yeah, I can imagine that would be difficult.
So I'm riding the hot pot hype train, right into this podcast.
Yeah, that is important news for the podcast as well. Speaking of which, this podcast is just since I want to explain what we're about up top instead of at the end. This is a podcast where we talk about RPGs mostly and other games and just basically what's going on in our lives right now, relatable stuff like hot pots. But mostly it's about our experience like running tabletop games and just talking about how we go about that and hopefully saying something that's useful to people who might want to do the same thing but haven't tried it or haven't tried it for a while or just feel a bit nervous about it. So of course, if you have any questions about that, just drop a comment, hit us up on the socials.
Yeah. And don't forget to like and subscribe this video if you think it's pretty cool. I think we always say it at the end, but I don't know how many people actually make it to the end.
That's why I'm saying it up top.
All right, so let's jump into it, or I don't know. I don't know what trains do. Chug into it.
Trains jump. I think I've seen a train jump.
I know in one of the Final Fantasies you could suplex a train. That was pretty funny.
There you go.
Yeah.
But we do. I ran a game online this weekend.
Yeah. Oh yeah. If you're gonna go into it, Tim, stop listening.
Well, I mean, maybe not yet. I don't know. I'll say when I get to the spoilers.
We'll put the Tim spoiler warning on.
I'll put it in the timestamps.
Yeah.
But yes,
it'll be like Tim, don't listen.
Yeah, Tim and Chippy, like both my other players, do not listen to this. Ramon, you can stay.
right, let's go. No more flim flam.
Okay, no more flim flam. All right, so I ran a game, and that's it. No, I ran a game. It was we've mentioned this game in the podcast a few times now. It's the game where we had some players who were basically mercenaries who were hired to guide a person from one end of the map to the other. And that's a very light summary of it. I've actually been, as we've been going, I've been learning a lot about doing like the very like low level detailing of areas, just because like travel is so slow and specific. So that's something I've been learning. But a summary for this particular session, the prior one ended like at the end of a bandit ambush. So we picked up basically right after that. And then they started traveling again. They were heading to a town named Godswater, which originally I had named it God's Water, like with one T, but then I made a typo when I was putting it on the map, and then I was gonna change it, but then I was like, because I didn't notice it till like the next day when I was looking at my map again, and I was like, I don't know, I just had like a brain blast of inspiration, so I kept the two T's, and I guess I'll explain that when I'm explaining the town. But I want to finish my summary first because I always get distracted. So they were making their way towards this town. One of the players did a survival check that helped speed up their progress. But they were attacked by a giant wasp, which they were able to handle pretty well. Eventually they ended up in the town. While there, they had some discussions about where to go next and what to do. They also got a quest to deal with some other giant insects that were nearby. With varying types of creatures, some stronger than others. And as a reward for that, they were given passage into this pool, which I had called the God's Water Pool, which gave a very like minor bonus, like just a +1 to all their saves for a short period of time. But you know, that could still be useful in a clutch situation. So they were heading over there to gather some of that water, but once they had entered the pool and once they had all collected some water from the pool, a sudden creature attacked from the pool, like this living waterfall attacked them. They got splashed up a bit, but they did the very smart thing and just totally ran away.
Run away!
So yeah, they just ran away from the fight. They discovered that the water creature guardian, whatever it is, only comes out when it senses some sort of like demonic presence in the pool. But it was pretty vague as to who that was coming from. There were couple of prime suspects. On the way out, they ran into a tiefling by the name of Koyel, who had lost. She had also encountered the pool's guardian, and she had ended up losing a weapon within there. She just asked, like, "Hey, did you find my thing, by the way?" They didn't, so she was just like, "Well, I guess I have to live with this now." But Ramon's character, Baruth, did give her a vial of the God's Water, which is what she was looking for in the first place, so she's pretty happy about that.
Yeah, which was to the surprise of everyone. We're like, you just gave it to her?
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
I mean, I don't know, we can work backwards and address that first. Koyel was not really too much of anything. This might be another price situation. Because for me, like, what I was thinking was, I wanted to put like a cool reward in the pool, like something cool at the bottom of it. Yeah. And I was just looking at the weapons, and I was like, okay, I'll put like a weapon in there, but it'll be like a +1 or striking weapon or something like that.
Oh crap! Really?
Yeah.
Damn it, we could have used that.
But I wanted to do something different because like everyone has short swords or I wanted to do something that no one else had already, and I saw the shape of a star knife, and I was like, this is a badass weapon. So yeah, I just like blooped it into the pool, but then I was like, well, how did it get there? I needed a reason to justify it being there. And I already had sorry.
Well, I was gonna say like star knives. I thought it was something to do with the pool, like the lore of it, because like star knives are like the I think it's the favored weapon of Desna, I believe. Desna. Yes. Yeah. So she's like the nature star goddess of goodness.
Yeah, there's one that's more specifically nature, but Desna is like skies and crap.
Skies and nice people. That's what Desna is, right? So I was like, oh yes. Random healing water, Desna, star knife, cool. This is probably here. I was like, maybe the star knife is the source of the magic of the lake. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that was the impression that like pretty much everyone had.
Yeah, but then it was just like something that someone dropped into the lake by accident.
Basically. Because like then I had to work backwards from I wanted to have the weapon in the pool, but how does it get there? I had an idea of how the pool would activate, so I was like, okay, let me work backwards from that. Someone with some sort of demonic influence. Oh, tieflings are cool. I haven't used one before, so there we go. And then I was able to put like a bit of backstory onto the characters, like, okay, well, they're a follower of Desna, and that was pretty much it. Just their name. Like literally in my notes was Koyel and her last name, and tiefling worshiper of Desna lost Star Knife in the pool.
Hey man, you gave her a name. That's like way farther than I usually get. NPCs. Yeah, no, it's I liked. Okay, so I think continuing on our conversation about NPCs and PCs in general and role playing, right? Mm-hmm. So from last episode, it's like Bruth being a half orc definitely has gotten, and being like larger and really, mostly like he's usually the biggest person in the room. Has not really been treated all that well in his life, right? Mm-hmm. And and in general, Bruth is actually really friendly. So just hearing that, like, this, even though she's definitely not a bad person, just because like of her origins being like half fiend or like planar touched or whatever, it's like you can really sympathize. And I was like, also like on the meta level of Ramon, I was like a +1 to saves. I'm already a monk. Like I'm really good at them anyways. So I was like, it doesn't matter. So like I was like, I'm not really losing anything, and I possibly gain a cool NPC friend. And I was like, this is way better. So Bruth, just give it to them for free. I mean, Bruth often pays for a lot of stuff. I think Bruth also because he's
incredibly nice to the party this whole time.
Yeah, well, what does Bruth need? What does Bruth need with money? He's a monk. He doesn't even have a weapon. Like, he just punches people. Like, what do I really need money for? Yeah, he only wears pants, and he's just like a wanderer who's just kind of like going around beating the crap out of stuff. Bugs, bandits, whatever.
You did offhand mention that Bruth might want to buy a shirt, so I looked at the price of clothing, and then he didn't buy any clothes. I was like, yeah, that makes sense.
Sorry to waste time.
No, he doesn't need it, man.
Yeah, right.
So now I had to think of like, okay, well, where is she going to be heading? And because I went ahead and made like a whole bunch of towns in this area, like the region you guys are in, I guess its theme, like everywhere has some sort of like theme. Like one I was thinking was more like urban, large cities, very heavy human populace. One bit more like you'll see more orcs and it's a bit more. There's a bit more nature there. There's one towards the middle that's like very foresty. You'll find some like heavy halfling influence. There's a whole history there. There's obviously dwarven mines because they gotta be.
Yeah, why would you be a dwarf if there weren't any mines? Like, so weird.
Exactly.
Even like the dwarves in like I think Warhammer, like their fantasy Age of Sigmar realms, they like mine clouds. like they have like airships and like giant like air cities, and what they do is because all the magics in basically like their entire way Warhammer works is like their realms are just made out of the magics of the world. Mm-hmm. So like their cloud, they can literally go and like suck up magic clouds and distill them into like magical stuff and then like sell it to people. So like they have it's you know what I mean. So like dwarves are always extracting something out of something. Yeah, no matter what. Like,
yeah, there are. If you head northeast, you'll come across some mountains and some mines and some. I think I mentioned these before. Like reverse towers, like skyscraper buildings that are dug straight downwards. But this area, I was thinking it might be heavily focused on like clerics and paladins and like those kind of like deity figures, because I find the concept of a deity figure in Pathfinder and D&D and whatever, I find it interesting. Like they literally exist. It's not like a belief system or a mythology or anything like that. Like it's not a faith thing. It's this figure literally exists. There's proof of it. Like every time you see someone do a healing spell, it's literally from this godlike figure. And I don't know, I just found that really interesting. So I kind of had this one region that was sort of focused on that. And then I'm just like, as I'm like laying out like the direction you guys are going in, because I saw before that you were all making plans of like, we should travel to this place, it'll cost this much, and then it'll cost X amount to go all the way to the target city we're going to, where we're transporting this person to. I was thinking, well, that's really great, but also I don't think that it's just going to be a straight line kind of thing, because there's terrain, there's wherever people built cities relative to the rivers or sources of water or like other resources and whatever. So yeah, I went in there, I put some points down, and then I put some names on them. And then I said, well, these areas might be more like related to certain deities or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, like I made one that was dedicated to like, I think it was to Gorham. And then I also mentioned that there's a fighting tournament going on there, just to give Baruth something to look forward to.
It'd be nice. Yeah, man. I was like, but then I was so sad that it was like the opposite direction.
Yep. Yeah. Because what ended up happening is I wanted to put it closer, but then I was like, wait, this is sort of, I feel like this would be like more of a dwarven thing, because they also have Torog there. I just kind of have those two related. So I was like, no, this is going to be further to the east, because I have my map, the dwarves is further to the east. So I was like, well, I guess it's got to be out of the way.
Yeah, man. I mean, it's your map. I think Baruth was like excited, and then he's like, oh,
You still have time. You have a few days.
Yeah, hopefully we make it. Then now Baruth is like, well, now we're on the clock. Now we got to get out of here. But I like that it's always, I like the repetition of like, okay, we get to a town, what's going on? We got to go do a thing, get some more money so we can make the next leg of the journey and not go broke. Like,
yes, that's what's become so incredibly interesting to me. Cause just like that, like it's such an interesting story in a way. And it gives me a chance to like explore the world that I'm making on like a ground level that I wouldn't have been able to before. Like I kind of want to do this with every group that I have in this Pathfinder world now, because
that might be your Pathfinder. This is like your campaign style. It could just be like, just like town hopping until you do a thing. Yeah, because
like now it forces me to make up these areas, because I just put some dots on the map, and then I went and gave them a name, and I said, okay, this one is like the Desno one. That's also closer to like the northeast, because that's more mountainous, and I was like, they have a magical observatory up there to observe the stars.
That sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, that's where Koyel is heading, which is like sort of on the way, and then she's gonna split off. She's gonna split off at some point. I forget which is the place that's between Tenare and Sinishari, just because I made up everything on the spot, but. Yeah, so she's going to be hanging out with you guys for a while. But like what I was saying before we got off on this is just, like I had to make up what she would be doing afterwards, just because I didn't really have that specific plan for her. And even when you guys were talking to her, I was like, yeah, she's going to just be talking to you guys. I didn't really know what to do with her, but she's just having this conversation, and the conversation is just going. And then Baruth was nice to her. We have a relatable story. I don't know. I guess everyone took somewhat of a liking to her. So
well, everyone figured that. I thought that she was some sort of enemy because so I like that session because like the plot thickened. Discovering.
I do want to talk about the plot thickening. That might be a spoiler thing that I will mention later, depending on what you want to know. But yeah, the plot was very thick this episode.
Yeah. Well, it's like you got so like Baruth I also joined a little bit later into this campaign. So Baruth, the character, doesn't actually know all the stuff that happened before he showed up, right?
Yeah.
And me as the player also doesn't know all the things that happened. So it's like when like he doesn't know that you guys are actually taking what's her name? Brima.
Yeah.
Like and you guys are going to get paid, or like the Delorphic and Solar are going to get paid lots of money, way more money than Bruth has ever seen, probably. Or like just like you guys were attacked by hooded figures, and then you guys are being stalked but like you pointed out that like someone saw someone who's hooded, right? And I was like, oh man, maybe those are the people. And I like that as things kind of develop more, it's always like these little things that could turn into something, and then all of a sudden the tension was released because like we found out that like, you know, well, we didn't read the letter what that Brima had, but it's like, but also the guy mentioned,
oh man, that letter.
Yeah, but also the guy mentioned sorry, the guards person mentioned that the pool's guardian will activate if in the presence of something infernal, right?
Yeah.
And then, but then the whole thing with, I mean, like, Bruce didn't know, so, but Bruce likes to talk to somebody anyway, so he'll probably chat the person up regardless. But, like, me as a player, I'm like, oh, crap, all that thing that happened with Solo.
Yes, yeah, because...
Who is on the meta level is like, that dude is definitely getting, like, possessed by a succubus, like...
Yes. One of the player characters, Solo, has been visited for, like, the third or fourth time by a succubus.
Oh man, that guy's.
So yeah, I can talk about the succubus for a bit actually, because I think I was going to ask you about this, but then I was like, no, I'll go with this thing. I'll see what happens, because like the succubus has an ability called the succubus gift, and basically like it gives the person it targets a certain power in exchange for certain benefits to them, which I will be vague about here because we're not in the spoiler section.
Yeah.
And originally what I had planned was something that was like basically the ability in the book is mechanically better than what I had planned, but I felt like what I had planned was a bit more thematically interesting.
Okay.
Like in the book, it gives you some like bonuses to stuff, and I wanted to give an ability. So I kind of ended up going with something closer to what's in the book. But I had the idea that as this goes on, if Solo keeps accepting these gifts, then it might start to go stronger because I had different levels for that particular ability. And I honestly don't know where that's going to go.
Well, I mean, I think I have a little bit of understanding of what kind of player Chibi is, and I think it's going to go all the way.
I hope so.
But yeah, no, yeah. Or you could have just also just smashed like the two things together, like give them the mechanical bonus.
Oh yeah,
and
I did pretty much.
Yeah, right. So you know, it couldn't hurt. I mean, what's the worst thing that's gonna happen? They're gonna kill monsters. I think we're gonna do that anyway.
But yeah, like because now I have an idea of what the succubus like wants. I know what she's up to. So yeah, it's just kind of like it largely depends on Solo's player. Largely depends on what Chibi wants to do with this thing. Because, like, there is a significant bonus to it. Like, I gotta say, it's pretty good.
Oh, nice. Okay.
But yeah, like, I spent a lot of time thinking about that. It was really hard to, like, I kind of let go of my idea and to keep it in the back pocket as a thing where it gets stronger. Because mechanically in the book, there was no concept of that gift getting any stronger. But I had made that, so I was like, okay, I'll start using my thing if this continues. If not, then it's there.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, that sounds pretty cool. Always a cool thing when you start meddling with like demons and stuff like that. That's why I wanted people to sign the contract with the contracting with Ari when you guys all met them in the Path of Inion. Like, you guys were there. You guys could have just signed the contract, gotten some powers. I mean, the contract only stipulated that you guys have to call her a devil instead of a demon.
I feel like between the characters I've been using the most recently, Macy obviously would not have, but Helen, I don't know, you might have gotten her.
Well, I mean, as long as it furthers. Okay, so like Ari in general. So it's like, okay, so devils like do care about the law, but they also care about themselves.
Yeah.
Like a lot more, and like the whole idea of them, it's like, so they will. I think they're not as the way I think of devils versus demons is that devils are more like long-sighted, like they think of the future a lot, and demons are more of like the imminent. So it's like that kind of like idea of just like, okay, we're gonna play the long game and manipulate people and do all that stuff, while a demon would be like, nah, just burn all this stuff down, right?
It. Yeah,
just smash them. So Ari would have, I mean, like, it might develop later, but like Ari was totally gonna give you guys boons, regardless if you guys are on the opposite side of her. This is the fact that like, you know, now that you guys have a rapport, later down the line, who knows, right? But she's just kind of like banking it for the future, kind of deal. Which, I mean, arguably, I think that making a deal with a contract devil will ultimately be your doom, because
Probably.
That's their plan, right? Not a lot of people can outsmart contract demons, and there's a lot of fine print in those contracts. But yeah, no, I'm excited. I'm excited to see all the things unravel with Solo. There just feels like I don't know what it is, but it just feels like there's such a in your campaign with Tim and Chibi, like it's like there's so much drama. Like, it feels like there's like a lot of drama.
Yeah, man. I don't know. This is all that leftover energy that's been pent up because I haven't seen Young and the Restless for a long time.
Yeah, it's like this whole relationship where it's like Delorfic is very much to the point where he cares about Brima, but also he always remembers that she's still just a paycheck.
Yeah.
So, but like I don't know if Brima knows that. Like I can't tell.
Nope.
Right. It's just like but then.
Yeah, because at some point, like we were talking about how Solo was visited by this succubus. I had everyone roll a perception check at a -4 because they were asleep. And both Delorfek and Baruth got pretty bad rolls, but Brima got like 20 something. Yeah. So I had her like just awake enough to like know that Solo was talking to someone, but she couldn't see because they were out of the light and she couldn't hear. And then I just kind of played up that suspicion, and I like that Solo's player I like that Chibi reacted with Solo being sad that Brima was now distant. Yeah. Because like as she mentioned, like usually when they were staying in inns and stuff, Brima would share a room with Solo. And then that night she just didn't explain why. And I don't know, I really like I don't know, I love playing with this group because I like that she just like went with the emotion of that moment.
Yeah, man, and it's just like Brima like bounces back and forth between Delorfic, and Delorfic's like this weird almost dad-like figure to her. Which I love so much. Yeah, I love it. It just feels like a weird disjunctive family.
It really is. Oh man,
this
I love it so much.
Dysfunctional family. Yeah,
like that's what I really enjoyed, because like after you guys got attacked by that pole monster, and the guy mentioned like, yeah, that should only happen if there's like a demon or a devil or something in there, and then like Solo didn't say anything, which was smart, but then Delorfic was suspicious of Brima, and I kind of like the drama of that moment.
Yeah, because it was like, I said Bruth. Well, you said that I noticed, or Bruth noticed, or it might have been everybody noticed that she was fondling something in her pocket, right? And I was like, wait, and then she was the last one to get it, and then the thing attacked? So suspicious. Mm-hmm. And I was like, there's like a demon in her pocket or something stupid. I don't know. Maybe. Something's up with that girl.
The thing is, like, Solo was on the boat as well. So
yeah, but I know after the fact, but in the moment, it was like, I was trying to find answers, right? Yeah. And I was just like, I think Bruth also Bruth would just jump to like the conclusion that, he's not too intelligent. Just be like, hey, you were the last one to do something, and then a thing happened. Correlation is causation.
Exactly. Which is fair enough, because that's what Delorfic thought as well, because then Delorfic confronted Brima. And then Brima was just like very distant to him afterwards, like on your journey that you started now.
Yeah, but I like that Delorfic took her aside.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And was like, show me the letter, right, or show me what's in their pocket, and then went and grabbed for it. And then Brima stopped, and then like they had this like little moment where it was like, oh, Brima, like it was like you could like, for me it was like Brima realized that like she can't trust Delorfic as much, because Delorfic is like, he's good when he's on your side, but when he's not, like he's kind of scary, right? Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, this little girl is being assaulted by this big dwarf. And
you guys were being like distracted by this this guard who was just randomly really nerdy about demons and devils for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure if anytime you want to distract Bruce, just have a dude know a bunch of stuff, and like Bruce would be like, let me talk to you for hours.
Oh, he's gonna love Koyel then, because I thought of something. Now that she's gonna be around for a bit, I thought of some cool stuff to do with her.
Yeah,
she's gonna be a very scholarly type.
Okay, cool.
What else can I talk about? Because I want to talk about like the node, and I want to talk about handouts in general as another topic. But I want to save that for like towards the end, because I mean, I don't know how much you want to know about that, to be honest.
Well, I mean, I don't think I want to know what's on the letter, because I think I'll be kind of I'm so interested about what's in the letter. Like I want to be like, what is the big secret? Who is Brima? Like, why is she so important?
I will continue to be vague about it then.
Yeah.
But I can talk about the combats for a bit. I'll start with, I mean, we had 3 different fights this go around. The first one was just a giant wasp, which I wanted there to be like the idea I had was just like a bunch of different insects, so I threw the wasp at you first. Just because I personally hate wasps the most out of everything. I don't think I've mentioned on here, but there was a wasp nest in my house like a couple years ago. Like, they just got into one of the bathroom vents, and then there were wasps in the house, and they were, I don't know, they were all over the place. They were downstairs, some of them were upstairs. We had to call a guy. He pulled, this is a terrible story, but because the vent was so small, when he pulled the nest out, it was like 2 feet long.
Oh.
So, yeah, that was not a good time. So, yeah, when you guys were fighting that wasp, I was definitely cheering for you. But
yeah.
Like, then I threw you against more insects, and I kind of, as I was making this combat, like, I usually like to lean on the combat, like, the, what's it called, like, the encounter calculator kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like, saying, oh, you have this much XP budget, so you can do this kind of creature and this kind of creature. And I was kind of leaning on that at first, but then I was like, you know what? Whatever. I'm just gonna do what I want. So that's kind of how I ended up throwing, like, the wasp, which was level 3, and the mantis, which was also level 3. But then I also threw in a couple of the giant centipedes, which are like level -1. And then I also put in the spider just to mix things up a bit, because the spider doesn't have as many like offensive abilities, but it does have that really great web, which was pretty effective, I think. It was like stealthing around during the combat, and it spat a web out. And specifically, it spat web out on, because in the combat map there was a bridge across a river, so specifically it put it on that funnel. And then it was just hiding in the trees and under the bridge, like, wait for you guys to walk across it. So I ended up having like all these different kinds of things. Like, some of them are poisonous, some of them can fly, some of them can grab, some of them have webs. And I don't know, I had a lot of fun planning that, because it was like a very varied combat.
Right. I like that there was just so much going on, and on top of that, like, everything had like some sort of poison or something, sort of other ability. Like, it was like tough, man. Like that, like wasp, like the giant wasp is like actually pretty hard. Like, especially if like, I don't know, I like fluffed like a whole bunch of rolls, like for that, like so many attacks, but he just like missed. I remember once I rolled like, I just couldn't roll above I kept rolling below a 10, and that made it so hard, because then it was like I got stung by the wasp a whole bunch. Like, Ruth went just basically down to 0 in like 2 turns. But thank God for orc ferocity.
Yeah,
keeping my ass alive.
For Brima's heals, I think.
And Brima's heals,
because I didn't give her like, I probably should have given her restoration or something as one of her spells. But I was kind of had the idea that as she goes on this adventure, she would start to prepare more like combat spells. Yeah,
no, I mean, Brima could have whatever Brima wants, I guess. Well, she's a cleric, so she can just she could just exchange one of her spells, right? So,
like, as I'm preparing her spells, like, I'm thinking narratively, what would Brima want to be ready for? So, like, when she got to level 3 and she got her level 2 spells, I was like, well, for now, I think she'll want to do some combat spells.
Yeah.
Just because that's something that's happening to her more.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of, like, in my head, I'm imagining her feeling a bit of guilt still over what happened to Keely, your other character.
Yeah.
Because in game, that was like a week ago.
It was only a week. It feels like, well, it feels like longer because we're real people, not an adventure.
I've actually like now that I've been making a calendar. As part of my notes, I made a calendar, and yeah, the adventure is coming up on 2 weeks of time now.
Really, it's been 2 weeks. These characters have been together.
Yeah.
Wow. Feels like ages, man.
A lot of it is traveling. Like 5 days without his boat.
Yeah, Bruce was probably only there for like half a week, maybe like 3 or 4 days. He's been traveling with these guys.
About a week actually, because I've been using the same months as Pathfinder because I'm using their like deities as well.
Yeah.
So they met Baruth on the 5th of Erastus, and the current day is the 11th. When we finished our session, it was the morning of the 11th.
Interesting. Okay, yeah. I mean,
which is again just I like having that there in the background, just as like this is a real world that exists. I changed up the moon cycles a bit, so the moon's real slow. There's going to be an eclipse in a few days, so that's cool.
Oh man, I'm worried. You're gonna have something weird happening. The eclipse happening. Watch. Calvin, shadow monsters are going to show up. Shadows everywhere. Whoa.
Maybe, because you guys are level 3 now, so I feel more comfortable throwing a level 5 enemy at you, which is what the Living Waterfall was.
That's true.
So we can talk about that fight for a bit too.
Yeah, well, you gave us the option to run away, and I'm a veteran, so I told everyone to run away.
Like when I was when I was planning that, I looked up like the rowboat, because basically what the fight was is you're fighting a water elemental on a lake. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh, this will be really cool and really difficult, but let me see other ways I can make this interesting. So I gave you a boat that you could control. And then basically I was like, in my head, I was like, okay, they'll use the boat to get close to do melee and stuff, but if they fall off, then they can swim at like this certain speed, and a certain radius around the monster is difficult to swim in. But in retrospect, and I think Tim might have mentioned this at the time, I should have made the boat a bit slower. Mm-hmm. But when I was explaining, like before the fight started, I was just explaining, okay, here's how the boat you're on works in case you want to use it. And I said this is how much it moves it around, just because that is how much a rowboat moves it around. And then the first thing you did was get the hell out of there. And I was like, oh, right. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought you were going to have it chase us on land. And I was like, oh,
I mean, no, yeah, keep going. I'll tell you.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so, I was like, you're maybe going to chase us on land. That's why I was so adamant of like, no, we should just cheese it, because it's like, this thing is just going to chase us, right? Like, why would we stand there and fight this water monster at the edge of the water where any moment we could just be drowned?
The thing is, because once you guys started running and basically using your full action to get away, when living waterfalls are not on water, their speed is 20 and they are slowed. So that thing was never, the most it could move was like 40 feet and around. You guys are just booking it, so like that thing's not gonna catch you.
Yeah, man, like I just remember, for some reason, I think it was maybe my very, very first game of like D&D ever. We're playing D&D 4E, and there was just like a water elemental in a pool, and from that then on, I'm like, I'm never gonna fight water elementals in a body of water ever. I mean, that's a good call. Like, I'm going to do everything in my possible just to, like, be on solid land when we're fighting these things. Because also, one of a campaign I was playing a couple years ago, a friend was, well, like, so, there was, like, a bridge, and we're fighting water elementals. The water elementals were, like, in the shape of, like, dolphins or killer whales or something like that. And they were jumping out of the water, knocking people off of the bridge that were trying to get across. And I was like, that sounds terrible. Yeah. I've never, we're just very lucky that, like, we had other ways to get around that wasn't that bridge. So we didn't have to, like, not everyone had to, like, deal with them. But we had, like, an alchemist who was, like, buffed himself up, so he was able to like he like stopped one of the killer whales and like threw it on land because it was that much of a badass. Yeah, but like the character I was playing was not like that. He would have just gotten drowned immediately. and stuff like that scares me, because like no matter how many hit points you have, like if you start drowning, you're dead.
Exactly. Like I was thinking, like, okay, I know some of you are going to be able to swim, but the creature has an ability that messes with the water around it, so anything that's swimming swims at half speed, unless they have a certain like water ability or whatever. So I was like, okay, if you're swimming, it's gonna be real bad, but you can stay on this boat. So yeah, that didn't go the way I thought it would, but like immediately I was like, of course this is how this is gonna happen. So like when I'm calculating the XP, like I still give you the XP for it, because like, yeah, that is the smart thing to do. You don't have to fight this thing, so just get out of there.
Yeah, man, we're not even getting paid. We already got the stuff.
Exactly.
I think if we didn't get the stuff, maybe we would have fought the thing. It's either we would have fought that thing or would have gone to that dude who gave us the notes to go to the pool and beat that guy up. Like, why did you try to kill us?
Yeah, that would have been an interesting conversation, because he would have been like, what? What are you talking about? That shouldn't have happened. And I mean, who knows where that could have gone, because then you would have revealed that you've got some fiendish influence on you.
Well, I guess it all worked out the way it's supposed to.
In a way, I guess it did, yeah. But yeah, like again, really fun game. Also, like what I'm really loving about this campaign is how much I get to explore the space. And I get to start like making more details, because I have a lot of the high level details. I have the world map, I have the regions named, I have some like important figures, but like now I'm naming like cities, and I have different capital cities and everything.
Right.
I don't know. It's just it's real nice.
Yeah, man. It really does feel like you're on a road trip. You already figured that out, that we're literally like road tripping it somewhere, and that you nail that. You'll nail that feeling of us like, you know, pulling out a map and figuring out where we need to go and how much goal it's gonna take us to get there and stuff like that. I think that's kind of like the fun. And
then like every place is gonna have its own sort of like personality in a way that I'm really looking forward to.
Yeah, it'd be cool. Just go there, meet a bunch of new people, talk to them, maybe do a job to get some more money to keep us going. I mean, that's like all Brute's life actually is. Now he's found friends.
Yeah, he's still adapted to it so well.
Yeah.
But yeah, again, I'm really grateful for this campaign and everyone who's playing in it. It's taught me a lot of things that I want to do in the future, so hopefully I get to enact them in some ways.
Yeah, man, it's cool.
But
I think it makes me want to put a map down in front of people, but I'm just so stressed out about maps, like I've said in previous podcasts. My feelings on drawing maps. I'm just like, oh, I don't know.
like I mean, again, like all I did for this was this was originally for like just an RP thing I was doing with like online, that honestly never took off. So, but I still had the map and I still had all the places named, so I was like, I gotta do something with this. So yeah, I ended up just using it for a campaign, and I think this is the first time I've really gotten down to the nitty-gritty with it. Because before I just had like 2 places, but now I've got like a dozen. I don't know. I'm really happy. I don't know how else to say it, but I do want to talk about handouts. Yeah.
Let's talk about handouts. I don't use them very often.
Well, I don't think that's true, because you went and made Magic the Gathering cards based on custom items that we all have.
Yeah, I guess I did do that. I guess those are technically handouts because I handed out to you, but it's like they're not like informational. I just find that the pirate group just kind of like wants a little bit extra. You know what I mean? Like,
well, I mean, I still see it as like a handout. Like, not only is it great to have like a quick reference of, okay, this is what that thing can do, and here's what it looks like, and that's neat, but also like the way you design it as a card. I don't know. I don't know. I just like that because it makes it feel. I like the game-y element of it, if that makes sense.
Right, and like not a lot of people. I mean, we've been doing this for a while now. But the pirate campaign, like everyone's really new except for you, right? In playing D&D. I mean, we've been playing for a year, but they're still like, this is their first campaign ever. These are first characters, really.
Yeah.
And I just find that like writing something down on your sheet, it's like sometimes it's really hard to remember if you're not built to like remember things like that, right?
Yeah.
So, and I put a lot of pride in my games because I come up with a lot of cool items and I want people to use them. So it's a little bit also for like my own hubris. I'm just like, yes, I made these cool items here. Make sure you use them and kill the bad guys, so I feel good. Yes, right.
I mean, yeah, that's the best way to do it though, is to give physical like objects of it, or like the cards or whatever that you did.
Yeah, and like I don't know, it's Yeah, it was super easy. I thought it would be harder, but like, yeah, I just found like a Magic the Gathering make your own card kind of website, and I was just like, oh, this is just like exactly what I wanted. Just like someplace with a picture, and I could put words into a vague card looking thing.
There was also way back in the old times. There was also like in the other campaign we were doing, the Pathfinders of Binion, where we're like exploring this new space, dealing with whatever creatures might arise there as we're helping settle this area. Because the Adventurers Guild is active there, and my character Macy was sort of the leader of our little group. She was given like a list of tasks, basically, like a list of things that were going on around town.
Oh yeah, I did. It did give a basically just like a report. I literally just typed up a report with just some tidbits of information, some rumors, and I thought that was kind of a good way to summarize of like the next leg of the journey or whatever, right? So, and it was cool because I got my previous the previous episode, I mentioned that I really think that team leaders are real important to the makeup of a proper party. And so I like assigning people being the team leaders. So I just gave you the list, and then you just kind of directed people from there, which made me feel like, I don't know, I think sometimes parties get lost in like what to do, and it's like if someone needs to be at the helm kind of driving, we just definitely need a driver, right? And it's like, because I don't want to railroad you guys to the next place. I want you guys to just do it, right? But I also need someone with a little bit of direction.
Yeah, I mean that is what I liked about it, because then you gave like 3 different options of like, here's a thing that's going on in town, here's a thing that's happening like in the area around town, and here's a thing that's a bit further off. And like I had to think in character, well, what seems like the biggest priority, what seems like the most dangerous thing that's going on right now.
Which I thought was hilarious. That was also led you down the rabbit hole of chasing your brother.
Yep.
Macy chasing her brother around town.
Yeah, because Macy like despises her family. So the moment she latched onto something, because like at first it was just, there's like one of the things was like specifically happening within the town. So to me and to Macy, that was like, well, this town needs to be like the safest place in the region, so let's deal with that first. And then the instant she realized, hey, wait a minute, I'm related to that guy that I could see over there.
That guy's an asshole. He must be the cause. Like immediately, without any evidence, you're just like, nope, it's here. It's him.
And then she just like tunnel visioned and forgot, oh, there's something else going on outside the city and even further outside the city, but that's not an issue right now.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess the little report. I mean, it also felt like you guys are a part of like an organization, and I gave you guys, I stole this from Matt Koval, his diplomat pouch. I think he puts, well, it's like I saw it on his like Chain of Acheron campaign that he was live streaming before COVID happened, and then he also put it in his Strongholds and Followers book. But like, I like the idea of being able to just like fax somebody something, right? And it makes it feel like, so when you're like the field marshal, it's like, so you guys are supposed to be like literally out in the field, and Bowen will like hear something or can update you like live, which I thought was like, because I was like, that's the thing too, right? So it's like, if you guys go off on a mission away from town, how am I going to tell you if something happens in town? Right? Or things develop, or you guys find something out without you having to trek all the way back, because you guys could be like, honestly, like, Inion's huge. You guys could be like maybe a month away, like in actual foot travel time, right? And like if you had to go back to report something to Baldwin like every single time, like I don't think it would be worth it. So I was like, I'll just steal a diplomat's pouch and just like.
So yeah, with that we can send like written messages back and forth. Yeah.
Also, I made it very clear that there's only 2 of them on the whole place, and if you lose that one, that's it. Yeah. So give you guys that kind of status of importance. I mean, I guess the time to think of it, it's like he doesn't even give it to like Naya or anybody else that's, I guess, a higher up in the guild. But I mean, you guys are the the forward team. So you guys are the most important ones. You guys are the ones go doing the things. Yeah. So yeah.
So
I mean, that's not a prop
to communicate, but yeah, like that is a very useful item.
Yeah.
In terms of communication.
It's a good way to give handouts. That's how I'm linking it back to their discussion.
Also that, yeah. Like the way I liked the card thing and how it added to the game elements, I kind of like that report and the way it added to the narrative element of like, this is like, as members of the guild, we have to take care of these things. And then Bowman's like, I trust you enough to make executive decisions on what you're going to deal with.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah.
Which, I want to go back to that campaign. I miss it. I mean, I'm having fun playing the pirate campaign, but I think the pirate campaign is at a point where it's like season 3.
Yeah, I would call it season 3.
It's season 3, and like we're still, and like Inyan, I think we ended it also at like season 2. So I want to get my season 3 of Inyan in. Yeah. I guess like I'm starting to feel like I gotta reboot this series and continue the story there, because I think that I stopped it and there was like gonna be like the next big wave of stuff to do is gonna come out, and Bowman has to make a really big report. Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll make a really big report of all the stuff that's happening over the downtimes.
Well, you did do that one-on-one game with me, so I don't know, maybe you can do more of those online, and then when we get back together, everyone can talk about what we did in our downtime.
Yeah, it's just scheduling time, man. It's like so hard.
Yeah, that is the one monster that no party can defeat.
Yeah. Also, some stuff I want to do in person, which is because I wanted to replicate the card game that you did in Starfinder. I think you took from Matthew Mercer.
It's actually one of our games that's on our channel.
Yeah.
I had borrowed the concept of a card. Oh gosh, I wish I could remember it now. I will probably put a link to it in the episode notes. But I had borrowed a card game that Matt Mercer made up for his the D&D game Critical Role. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Never heard of it.
Yeah, it's a bunch of voice actors. They play D&D. But yeah, I just borrowed the game for a Starfinder casino.
Yeah. Well, that was one of my favorite moments in Starfinder. Actually, is that doing that card game, because it was so tense, because I didn't want to lose the game within a game. Like, you know what I mean? But I had an idea of a high stakes poker game, which I think that game would the way you did it in the Casino Royale Starfighter scene, it would be good, because one of the characters has half of a treasure map, and somebody has the other half, but they want to play a little game with them and possibly try and win them out of all their money and their bar in this high stakes poker game. Yeah, which I think would be kind of cool.
That would be. I don't know. I mean, I'm excited to be on the other side of that.
Yeah, man. I have that idea. I have an idea of a Street Fighter-esque tournament kind of deal for another character. I have just literally the session is gonna be they're just doing their job. I think they're a farmer or something. That's what they're doing their off time when they're not adventuring. And a bunch of people dressed in Shaolin monk robes is gonna show up, and it's I heard you're a good fighter, and then immediately just start attacking them. Yeah. And then just immediately start beating the crap out of these people, and then it's gonna just become a kung fu movie, and then everyone's gonna start speaking in subtitles, and it's gonna be great.
The black bars come in at the top and bottom, and
yeah, it's exactly what I want. And then they have to go and defeat the master, and they're gonna have a name. It's the master of the Black Hand or Thundering Fist or Dragon, whatever. I forget what I called it. I wrote it down properly. And then at the end of it, they're gonna get a secret move, so their character gets to learn the secret technique that the bad guy's using, and become their title. If they defeat the master, their title becomes the Black Cloud Thundering Dragon Master or whatever.
I mean, even if that's not it, that sounds awesome.
Yeah, I have a thing with some vampires that are happening that for another character. I have so much stuff. I just don't have any time. And that's why I love the Path of Inyan, because none of the stuff ever has to be woven into the story. I just like that Inyan is this big crazy place, and like there's tons of
There's just
people
stuff happening.
There's just stuff happening,
Yeah.
and I love that there can just be all these little individual stories that don't have to have anything to do with like the bigger narrative, versus like, you know, the pirate game where now I have to weave some sort of crazy narrative together, but and you know, tie everything together, because that's just the story we're telling, you know.
Yeah.
And
But I mean, much like you guys escaping that living waterfall, I don't know if we're gonna be like going back to that dragon that literally burned a town down around us anytime soon.
yeah, that's true. You just run away.
So you got time to do other stuff before you have to deal with that.
Yes,
And I'm sure it'll stay in that area and go nowhere else.
I don't know about that, Chief, but there may be less towns in the future.
Oh.
Yeah.
But yeah, handouts. We're talking about.
Right, on handouts. So yeah, I mean, I like your use of handouts too, because I mean, also the fact that you're running this on Roll20 makes handouts like way easier to manage, because you actually updated a handout on the fly, giving us
I think
the
travel
prices,
times
right?
one,
Yeah. So, you know, and like that kind of jogged my memory of what I wanted to do for the next time I do a campaign, is to put together like a campaign book, like a notebook for all the players. So it's like it would just be like a duotang or like a clipboard or something like that, with just a bunch of or a file folder, I should say, with just like, you know, general information about the world in general, like, and like, you know, stuff that people want to know, like how much does it cost to rent a cart to go somewhere?
Yeah.
How long does it take me to get from X to where, right? You know, stuff that like people who are actually living in that place would know, right? And stuff that we would have to look up. It doesn't come up very often, but like
when it
won't
does,
change.
you gotta, Like, yeah, that is part of a thing for me, because I do look up like prices of mundane items, and then I have to think, well, is there anything that would change that price? That's why it's sometimes hard for me to like just memorize it, because then it's like, well, like in one place, like in one of the towns that they had helped, stuff was like extremely cheap there, because they really helped that city out, and like the economy was already like thrashed by the time they got there. But in other places, as you head to like larger cities, you might find things are more expensive than you expect. You might even find that out next game.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, I like that. So far, our money has gone a long way for us, and having to nickel and dime stuff is kind of cool. I mean, to be fair, I think there's a big contrast between when you're running a game and when I'm running a game, because to me, I will just hand out money like candy and magical items, but I find that for you actually like hold the purse strings a little bit tighter.
Yeah, at this point, it's because I want to keep the mood that's been established. So, like, even that guy giving you 10 gold for saving his life and his wares, like, that's still like 10 gold is a big flippin' deal.
It made me feel like that guy was actually super rich. That's how crazy he was. I was like, that dude is literally giving me 10 gold for kind of no reason, because we were also going to be attacked by the bandits. Made me feel like this dude is super rich, and I wish I talked to him more. So,
well, I will say this might be a slight spoil. No, it's not, because he told you where he was going. He is going to like the city you're going to next. That's where he said his ultimate destination was from where he started. So he's still in the caravan if you want to chat to him.
Yes, I do, because Bruth is like slowly building a network of NPCs that he can possibly call upon if he runs into them again. Yeah. I think that's like ultimately what Bruth is like. Bruth probably is not aware of it because he's just kind of a nice guy, but that's like what I'm doing as a player. I'm like, I want to be able to be like, remember that guy from like 2 towns ago? We should go talk to him.
Yeah, Bruth is gonna have a whole new network of friends.
Yeah. Yes.
Which would actually be really awesome.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, we can talk about that letter for a bit.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess I won't tell you exactly what's on it then, or exactly what it is. But basically, again, the character Brima that the PCs are guiding from one place to another, it was revealed after they were attacked by this living waterfall. When she was checking over herself, she was specifically checking like this envelope that she had hidden on the inside of her cloak. And then some of the characters noticed that, particularly Delorfek, who is this fighter dwarf who's been like with her since the beginning, but none of them knew about the letter previously. None of the players knew about the letter previously, I should say. And yeah, like he was just immediately suspicious of it. Like I thought he would have been able to get it from her.
Yeah.
But she had the better reflexes. So that was a close call, but
well, also now it's like now Delorfik knows about the letter, so I mean, like everybody else doesn't know about the letter, so we'll see if it comes up again, because I'm definitely it's weird because I half want to know what's in the letter, and I also just don't want to know what's in the letter at the same time. Like it's just like I like the idea that it's a mystery. It's like that's like breaking my mind. I'm like, it could be anything. What's in the letter?
It could be. Because I tweeted about this because I saw this coming. Because I had the idea of like what information it should have, and then I started writing it out, and then I had like a whole page of text, and I tried to condense it a bit, but I was like, no, this is gonna be wordy because that's just the kind of person that the person who wrote it is. So it I tweeted something along the lines of, how much time is too much to spend writing a letter between two NPCs that your players might not see anytime soon? I thought at the very least, because I made a thing for just like what's written on the envelope, and I thought at the very least they'll see that, so let me make sure I have that. But it didn't happen, so I don't know how long that's gonna go. This is the exciting part for me. I don't know what's gonna happen.
Yeah, and it's like, I mean, this also kind of goes back to like our different DMing styles. I mean, like, to me, I wouldn't even write that note. I wouldn't even write anything that's on the letter. I would just say like, there's a letter. Like, that's it. And then I wouldn't know what's on the letter. And then I would do my best to only reveal it once I've written something down. Right, and it's like sometimes I feel like I'm the worst. Like,
no, I mean, to be fair, she technically always had it. I just never wrote like I only knew like the information that was on it. But then I just had some. I don't know. I started writing and then I couldn't stop.
Yeah.
Because then I
well, that's a.
Yeah.
Yeah. That what I was gonna say. That's the thing too. Is like I always like the idea of like letters between NPCs or letters between bad guys and stuff like that of their greater bad guy network, right? And it's like I remember when I was doing Rise of Rune Lords, one of the reason why you knew to go from basically one bad guy to the next bad guy is because you found letters of them corresponding.
Yeah.
And we're like, oh, we gotta go do this thing. And then even after that, we found some more letters corresponding with some other bad guys, and then we had to go like, oh god, we had to go back to the first place because something bad was going to happen. Right? And then so we rushed back because of imminent doom. And I kind of want to do that, but then again, my inability to write letters.
Nah, man, just go for it. Like, once you know the information that it has to have, for me, it was, I know what this thing has to communicate to the players, because ultimately, while it is a thing between two NPCs, it has to communicate certain facts or ideas or information to the players. So, like, I centered around that idea, this thing says this, so how would this person write it out? And that was basically where I went from there.
Yeah, man.
And then, my intention was... I don't know. I also did some photo editing and stuff of something that never came up. And again, I don't think it will for a while.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, so the last letter I wrote, which was like, I wrote it on the day because I'm so good at DMing.
I mean, you are. I don't know what to tell you.
Like, I wrote it on the day. Everyone's showing up, and then there with my laptop just furiously writing a letter because Lance LaPonce double crossed the party and was gonna run away with Misty, and left her a note to follow him through the sewers, and they'll live their dreams, which I think was really fun for everyone to this. Because I think it was also like, again, because the parties, the players are all still really new to D&D. I literally just, as soon as everyone was ready, I printed it off and I just handed it to them. But then it was really funny because they like the person, I even wrote Misty on it, like, because it was directed to her. So I handed it to the player, and the player opened it up, read it, and then it's like, okay, you have to read this out loud. And then I read it out loud in the Lance voice, like the NPC's voice.
I mean,
so
yeah,
it was like,
that was probably at least 50% just to get you to do the Lance voice.
Man, I miss Lance. I want him to show up, but I also just like feel like he's such like a strong NPC that when he shows up, he has to kind of do something important.
I mean, we're going backwards now, so
yeah, sure. Lance should show up. You guys should run into Lance very soon.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
If I don't forget to put him in. I think he was supposed to show up in the last session, but I think like last minute I was like, nah. I think it'd be a little weird if he was just here. So
yeah, there's too much going on already.
Idea. Yeah, there was too much going on. And then Lance is here, and they would be like, we don't have time, Lance. Gotta go save our friends.
Oh man, if Lance ended up on the boat,
I
don't know how Helen would have reacted.
Could you imagine? Just like, like in the background. Lance LaPonce is here.
After he tried to sink her boat, after she betrayed him. I don't know how that would have gone.
Well, you did just run off all of his money.
Yeah, we did take all of his stuff. So
yeah.
Oh
Too
man,
good. Too
tabletop
fun.
stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I am excited to see how that envelope goes. I am, man. I really. I'm just because I have Roll20 open right now again, so I could remember what I actually made, and man, I wish I had shown this to you, but it didn't happen. So I don't know, like stuff like this and like this succubus tempting solo and just everything that one player knows but other players don't. Like that stuff is really interesting to me because I don't know where that's gonna go. Like I have some influence and I can say, well, this is what this person would do. This is what this information is. This is what this object is. But at the end of the day, like I don't know what's gonna happen next because it's like, how many players do I have? 3. It is like 75% out of my control.
Mostly. Oh man. Which is just the good part. I mean, it's the fun part about being the DM. Because you know a little bit more than the players, but you don't actually know how it's gonna play out.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I know it's here, but I don't know when you're gonna see it. I know what the succubus can do, but I don't know if they're gonna get that far. I don't know what Delorphic's gonna do with the information he knows now. I don't know if Baruth is gonna go to this fighting tournament.
Is anyone even gonna get paid at the end of this? Like, who knows?
They were promised a substantial amount of gold. Part of me is wondering if I should like configure or anything, because like looking at it now, like because the tone of the campaign has changed so much. I think I said it was like 1,300 gold or something. Which
that's a lot. I heard 1,700 gold from.
Yeah, it might have been. See, my problem is I didn't specifically write it down because I was like, oh, it'll be like this amount, and I know I said it, but I don't think I wrote it down because I can't find it in my notes anywhere, and I don't know if it got deleted like what happened one time for my session 4 notes. Yeah. So I don't know exactly what the amount was. It was like between 1,000 and 2,000 gold for certain. But now that the tone of the campaign has changed so much, I'm like, is that too
Well,
much,
I mean,
or is it better that it is some absurd amount? Or
it feels like that's enough money to go and be like, well, now I'm gonna go buy this castle. I need to go find me some peasants to rule because I'm rich now.
so yeah, I gotta gauge what is like both an absurd amount of money, but not like take over the world amount of money.
Well, I mean, someone could always try and steal it from you.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah, or you just end the campaign. I mean, I think it'd be you just end the story. It'd be like, I don't know where things are gonna. I don't know what you have planned. Mysterious Brima
I don't know what
letter and traveling, right? But sometimes it's like, yeah, you get a bunch of gold and that's it. We'll end this campaign. Maybe fast forward or something a couple years down the line, and Delorfic is the baron of some kingdom, or like runs his own mine, and then like Brima just shows up on her doorstep and be like, "We gotta go."
I wonder what Solo would do with a crazy amount of money. Who knows?
Probably just spend it all on women. Like
Solo doesn't need women. He's got a succubus, his own personal succubus.
So personal succubus.
Oh man, but yeah, I'm just again, I'm really happy with how this game's going. I'm really happy with the tone that was set. I love this road trip campaign that we've got going on. And yeah, I hope in some way I can keep that going for like as long as possible.
The never-ending journey. We'll never get there.
I mean, you'll get there, but who knows what's waiting for you? I sure don't.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Bruce has to go win a tournament. So,
yeah, Bruce
which I think would be. Yeah, well, it's hard because it's on the. Someone put the tournament in the opposite direction. Calvin.
Look, I'm sorry, man. It was dwarves. They had to be near the mountains, which means it had to be towards the east.
I actually thought about maybe Bruce will just separate from the party, but you said we had a couple weeks, so I was like, okay, Bruce will stick around just a little bit longer. But if it looks like he's not going to make the tournament, he'll bail out.
Yeah, I mean, like, once we play again, I can tell you the specific dates of things. But
yeah,
you have time.
I'm just saying, Bruce, it's calling him, man. Like, that's like his dream. He was going to go fight in a fighting tournament and prove how strong he is.
Well, if you do that, I mean, you could always play as Koyel if you want. If Baruth is going to dip.
Yeah, I guess so. But no, Koyel's gonna come with me. That's like our thing. We're just gonna, like, narratively, it's like I happen to think that as long as Bruce didn't die, like, he would still exist in the world somewhere, and maybe the party will run into Bruce again, and he's like world champion or something. Maybe.
Actually,
I like that idea.
That's kind of an interesting idea. I got to figure out because I know where Koyel is going, and I got to see if maybe it'll be faster if he goes with Baruth.
Yeah, man, I like the idea. I guess because I've like, I don't get too attached to characters that much. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like if it makes sense narratively for a person to split apart from the party, like, Bruce is kind of third wheeling right now, or fourth wheeling, I guess, because Brima's there. Yeah. So it's like he's just hanging around because he kind of likes them, and
I mean, they're fun people.
Yeah, and generally we're traveling together, and it's always better to travel with more than by yourself. Traveling with lots of people. So that's why he's sticking around. But ultimately, he's not wrapped up in this whole Brima getting paid kind of deal, right? He's not a transporter. He's just happened to be there.
Yeah, he's just like in the group because they saved his butt. But yeah, it's just like you're walking the same direction as someone else.
Exactly, right. So if we get to Silver Hill, right?
Yeah, that's the ultimate final point of the journey.
Right. If you get to Silver Hill and whatever happens there, and and maybe the campaign is going somewhere else in a different direction, maybe that's where Baruth parts ways and goes to do his own thing. And maybe if the campaigns continue, I'll play another character that's more important to the story or more connected to the story. You know what I mean?
Maybe, yeah. I mean, like, because I know you'll be able to whip up a new character pretty fast because we're not very high levels, so if that's how that goes, then that's how it goes.
Even if you're level 10, like, I'll just do it. Like, it's not that big of a deal. I think it's just motivation is the thing. trying to keep everyone together. Which I mean, I guess like, I don't know. I was kind of thinking about like motivation in the pirate campaign, because I was thinking maybe like why is Misty still hanging around? Right? Why I know Ray's kind of in it because of the violence, right? Like he's not gonna go live back in the forest now. He's a pirate now, right? And like Rain is in it for the elven artifacts, right?
Yeah.
Also to marry Jasper eventually.
Yeah,
like, they have to
apparently.
date, so so maybe. Yeah, so maybe Misty's there to to make sure Ray doesn't die.
I mean, yeah. Like up to that point, we were just like all around the medallion. So I mean, as long as we still have that, there's still a reason to stick together.
Yeah, I guess so. But it's like, I guess Helen can kick everybody off the ship. Like I'm curious to see what's in it for Helen, because now she's got her crew back and everyone's relatively safe. What's in it for her?
I mean, to me, I think she's still interested in that medallion, but now part of her wants to stay away from it. So I don't know. I gotta think of something.
Yeah, I mean, other than the fact that we're all friends and we're all gonna playing games together, it's like what's like character's motivation for doing the plot thing. I mean, I like the how personal everything is, like all those interpersonal relationships that the PC is built with the NPCs and with each other, right? And I like how the connectiveness of everything. I think that if Helen would want to get everybody off her ship and get back to normal and leave all this stuff behind, I think Jasper would be like, nah, man, we gotta go do this thing. Captain.
I think maybe in I would say like in Helen's position, and I don't know if it's just like specifically relevant to the game. I don't know. People are gonna find this interesting, but Helen, I think, might one kind of like the people that she's been with for a while now. Definitely that rivalry with Misty. There's some quote unquote friendship in there, and also part of me was thinking if she would blame herself in a way for what happened to the town, because if she didn't set the two specific people that she had set to guard the person that the cult was targeting, then they might not have been kidnapped, and she wouldn't blame Orguak and Davis about oh god, what's your name? Brienne or however it's pronounced, being kidnapped. She wouldn't put the blame on them. She would put the blame on herself for putting them in that position in the first place.
Oh, really?
So okay. I think I see that being an element of it. I see the medallion being an element of it, and I see the people being an element of it. So it would be very begrudging, but I don't think she would turn her back on this. She's done some bad things because she's a semi-pirate, but she hasn't burned down a whole city.
Yeah, that's actual badness.
Yeah. It's not just roguish charm, it's actual villainy.
Yeah, it's real villainy, not the swashbuckling villainy, which is kind of cooler.
Yeah, she'll swash any buckle any day, but people died.
Yeah, a lot of people died, which is cool because now all of the forest is full of demons. It's just gonna be demons all over the city now. No one's stopping them.
Oh yeah, that's true. Oh boy,
yeah, man.
I do not want to go back there.
No way, you guys might have to, which would be super fun for me.
Oh great!
Imagine just walking through this demon-infested city while this dragon flies overhead. This crazy fire lady just mwahaha herself in in a tower somewhere. The imagery is so good. It's them.
It sounds horrifying, and I don't want to do it, but we're probably gonna have to because that is the way of the game.
Probably gonna have to.
But yeah, I think that's it for this episode. We covered a lot of things: NPCs, handouts, what's going on in our campaigns, and what we hope to do with them. But yeah, I don't know. I'm just really excited to play more with this group. And I think people should give this kind of thing a try, these very low, not even just low level, but low gold campaign, if that's a term that makes sense. Road trip campaign.
Yeah, road trip campaigns.
Yeah, so that's about it for now, for this episode. Unless you have anything else you want to add, we are at like 80 minutes, so.
Nah, man, so just remember to like and subscribe to the video.
Yeah, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button, ding the bell so you get a notification every time we upload. As always, you can find us on Twitter and Facebook at Win With Dice, or on our website, winwithdice.ca, where you can find some content that isn't like necessarily on our YouTube channel, some cool pictures and stuff. Mm-hmm. And yeah, that's about it. Hope to see you there. Hope to see you online. Ramon, you have anything to say? Any like goodbye-ings? What's the opposite of a greeting?
I don't know, like salutations or something.
Isn't that hi as well?
I guess so. I guess salutations is hi. Anyway, we'll figure it out. We'll go Google it. What is it?
Yeah, I'll go Google that right now.
Anyway,
but while I'm searching for that, everyone else, just remember to keep on finger guns. Keep on winning with dice.
That's it, guys.
Bye.